Jefferson, Jackson County, and the entire surrounding area. I'm here to tell you about an event coming to your area June the 27th through June the 30th that your kids 9 through 16 do not want to miss. We're talking about the 212 Degrees of Excellence Youth Skills Camp. We're not talking about your typical camp, soccer camp, whatever other kind of camps they have out there where you go out in the woods and get bit by a million mosquitoes and bugs. We're talking about real life skills. We're talking about things that kids are not typically provided, not even in school, but we feel are pertinent to a great adult life. So we're bringing them to Jefferson because you deserve the same top-notch training that we see in much larger cities. Okay, now we're going to talk about how we came up with the name 212 Degrees of Excellence Youth Skills Camp. Well, it's really simple. A few years back, I worked with one of the largest, most successful brokerage firms in the country, Edward Jones. I worked as what they call an academic training leader. So I was responsible for taking financial advisors from the initial stage all the way through the time they were actually prepared to go out in the field and be productive. So as someone who is trained pretty much their half their adult life, uh, we are always as trainers looking for ways to motivate those that we're training. And so during my research, I came across a book called 212 Degrees, The Extra Degree. If you haven't read it before, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're in the business of motivational speaking, training, that sort of thing. But anyway, 212, what that stands for is at 211 degrees, water starts to boil. But you didn't know that. Some of you may have, but hey, anyway, so it starts to boil. But at 212, it starts to do something else. It turns to steam. And the thing about steam is it can power a locomotive. So that one extra degree makes the difference from just a pot of boiling water to steam, which can power a very powerful, strong locomotive. So what we do is we teach this philosophy on everything that we do in life, whether it be the way we are as bosses, the way we are as workers, the way we do when it comes to investing. We give that extra degree on everything we do. So now you know the story behind it and why I chose that as the name of this camp. Because once again, remember, it's not your typical camp. I don't even know why I call it a camp really. But anyway, we have to give it something that people can relate to. But it's going to be an experience like no other. And so 212 degrees, that extra degree, and we're going to boil that pot till the water runs dry. I guarantee you that. What subjects are we going to cover during this 212 Degrees of Excellence summer camp? Well, they're not your typical courses that you see at most camps either. We're talking about things like dress for success, where not only are we going to show them how to present themselves because we believe that the way you dress is the way you want to be addressed, we are also going to bring in one of the top motivators in the region, Mr. Bob Mackey, and he's going to get our young men together and show them this dynamic presentation called The Power of the Knot. If you've never experienced that presentation, then you are in for a treat. So make sure that if you have a child, especially a young man aged 9 through 16, that they come out because day one, we're going to start it off with a bang. One of the other subjects that we're going to cover in this unique, one-of-a-kind 212 Degrees of Excellence Youth Skills Camp is public speaking. But hold up. We're not going to actually call it public speaking. I'm doing that now for you as I tell you a little bit more about this camp. But for our young people, we're going to call it presenting yourself to the world, because that's what we are when we get up in front of a group and speak. We're presenting. And plus, when you hear public speaking, it's kind of scary when you're a young person because that thought of public and speaking put together can be sort of a scary thing when you kind of think about it. I'm going to be in front of the public. Ooh. So what we do is we're going to give them subjects that they love, but we're also going to challenge them with subjects that they have no idea about at all. And that's how we're going to train. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have dynamic exercises. and we're going to have teamwork. And when we bring it all together, you're going to see at the end that that person that you sent to our camp can present themselves to the world a whole lot better. Stay tuned for that one. The next area that we're going to talk about, that we're going to cover at our one of a kind 212 degrees of excellence youth skills camp is the resume. That's right. Even for our 9-year-olds, they're going to leave our camp with a resume. And the way we do that is we have certain proprietary software that we use where we can actually sit these young people down and we'll take even their basic chores at home and input them into the system. And it actually turns into tangible skills that can be put on a resume. And so we'll work with them, show them how that looks, explain to them in a way that they can understand why we're putting certain things on the resume and why we're omitting certain things. Now, a lot of these things you have to really, really be there to really experience what we're going to do with these young folks. But when they walk out that door on Thursday, each one of them will have in their hands a resume. Now, for our older kids, we're going to go a step further and really show them how to present themselves and also how to do a 30-second elevator speech. And boy, that's where that I almost said public speaking, that's where that presenting yourself to the world comes in hand when you put it together with the resume, and now you can present yourselves to others the right way. So the resume, critical part, is part of our career planning portion of the training. And man, we're just getting started. Now we get to talk about one of my favorite parts of this unique camp. And that is we're going to actually work with our young people on finances and investing. And this is something that is near and dear to me because a few years back, I actually, as I mentioned before, that I actually taught financial advisors for one of the top brokerage firms in the country, Edward Jones. And a lot of people say, what, you're going to teach investing to the 9-year-olds? Absolutely. For many that do not realize, there are actually youth investment groups out there that start at the ages of 7 and 8 and go up from there. And a lot of times, as I also mentioned before, we hold information back from kids because we are not aware that they are capable of understanding basic concepts behind investing and saving for the future. But that's the same thing that happened back in the day when we didn't have tablets and computers. But now we put those in front of 3 or 4-year-olds and they grab them, and next thing you know, they're sending emails. So we thought this was very, very important to bring to our young people because it definitely is something I wish I would have had at a younger age because it would have put me in a much better position now if I'd have knew the power of investing. So that's one of my favorite parts, and we're actually going to have the kids go in, put in the investments, buy stock, and actually see that go up and down and really get excited about seeing that money add up. So one of the best parts of this camp, the investing portion. Next thing we're going to cover. Oh yeah, we're not done yet. We're going to have an action-packed week. That's why I'm telling you, if you have a child 9 to 16, or even if you know of a child 9 to 16, you need to let them know about this camp. But let me get to this next thing. Health and fitness. All right, and we're not talking about some boring health and fitness class that you received like when you were in the 6th grade, back in the day. We're talking about going out and having fun, team building exercises, things that make us utilize the rest of those skills that we've picked up during the week, but also having fun, getting healthy. On top of that, we're going to bring in a nutritionist. We're going to bring in people from the medical facilities to actually go over with them some of the things that are going on within their bodies as young people and how to deal with some of the challenges of being a young person and the changes that you're going through. So we're not, once again, trying to be your typical camp. We're trying to go above and beyond, give them things, teach them the right type of habits when it comes to physical activities, staying in shape, eating right, things that they can carry with them for the rest of their life. You combine them with some of the other things that we've talked about and some of the things that we're going to cover, it builds a well-rounded person that can be productive and be successful, not only now, but for the rest of their lives. Since we've been blessed with the unique opportunity of hosting this great 212 Degrees of Excellence Youth Skills Camp at the local sheriff's office, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and utilize their state-of-the-art training center as well as their shooting range, then we would be remiss if we didn't bring those folks in to talk to our young people about crime and the effects it has on our future. And so we can tie that directly in with some of the things that we covered during the week. And as for example, the resume and how it can be a detriment to our career choices if we have to put on there certain things that have occurred while we were young and while we weren't thinking straight, and how that affects us down the road. And so we're going to bring in those law enforcement officials so they can give a real talk tour of the facility and really see that crime does not pay. Okay, I'm really getting excited now because now's the time that we talk a little bit about the last day, graduation day. Now, on this day, we get to bring together all the things that we've covered during the week, whether it be Dress for Success, the resumes, presenting yourself to the world, speaking about crime and how it affects our futures. And we're going to put it all together. And our little 9-year-olds, all the way up to our big, strong 16-year-olds, are going to present to our parents and our instructors what they've learned during the week in a unique way that I just can't wait for the world to see. It'll be some tears flowing, believe me, because it'll amaze you what difference 4 days can make. And that's what we aim to do here at the 212 Degrees of Excellence Youth Skills Camp. Make sure, once again, if you know someone 9 to 16-year-old, then you make sure you tell them about this camp. You can find more information at www.212, and that's using the numbers, 212degreesofexcellence.com. You can find all the registration information. You can also find more about the subjects we'll cover and also how to contact us if you have additional questions. When I say we're bringing something unique to the area, I wasn't playing around. I've been all around this world. I've spent 20 plus years in the military. I've worked for different corporations, and I'm bringing all of that experience, all those things that I've learned, and I'm putting them together and bringing to Jefferson, Georgia, to Jackson County, not just your typical camp. As I mentioned earlier, we're bringing top-notch professional level training to our young people because they deserve it and because they can comprehend it. A lot of times we sell our kids short by saying they can only learn so much, but you're going to be surprised at what they can do. And this is only the beginning. Stay tuned for more from 212 Degrees of Excellence and also from my company, SolidHires, as our vision is to bring even more events to the county and to the area, and maybe even do something through the school year where we meet with these kids maybe once a week and continue to hone those skills because the mission continues. And I'm just getting started. All right, before we let you go, there's a couple of folks that I want to thank for allowing me to bring this great event to Jackson County. For those that have never put an event together, it's a daunting task, especially when you're going into an area where you have never put on an event. So you have to reach out to the community and to those who already have their feet planted firmly within that community to reach out for help. So first of all, I'd like to thank Sandy Bailey, Foundations of Living. I approached her a while back. We've collaborated on several projects to assist each other before, and so it was a no-brainer to reach out to her to ask for her participation as a facilitator, first of all, and then just to pick up brains for anything she could share to help us make it a reality. And so I'd like to give thanks for her organization for coming out and assisting us. And also Sheriff Janice Mangum for allowing us to use her great state-of-the-art facility for this event, and for also allowing her personnel to assist us where it need be. So we just like to thank the folks that helped us make it happen. We are proud of what we're bringing to Jackson County, Jefferson. Being from that area, this is extra special for me, and just want everybody to remember, if you're interested in participating in this event, or you know some young man or young lady that could benefit, go to our website at www.212, that's the number 212, degreesofexcellence.com, where you can find more information about this great event. You can also find out when we'll have our parents orientation, which is, by the way, is coming up next week, June the 2nd. And during that time, we are going to be giving out information, knowing what you can expect from us and also what we expect from you and your child. So until then, remember, the mission continues.